இருமா. We will start this evening with a small question. What do you understand by hot spot, cold spot thinking strategy? What, according to you, is this hot spot, cold spot thinking strategy?
Hotspot is a place where require immediate attention. Hotspot is a place where requires immediate attention.
Okay, and cold spot?
For cold spot, yes, you can delay it. It's not that urgent.
Okay. Excellent. Can everyone unmute their videos so that we can see each other? Yeah. So hotspot, according to Mr. Ravichandran, is a place which requires immediate attention. Cold spot is something which we can attend to later. Anybody else? Yes, any other?
I think he is right for cold spot. He is right for cold spot. We understand immediate action is required. And for
hot spot or cold spot?
Hot spot. We need immediately we have to take it.
Very good.
No.
Okay, Bala is traveling. Bala. Okay, Bala, it's okay. Yeah, then.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But you joined, that is more than enough for me.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody else?
FMCG language, hotspot is the place where it is in the front of the shop where everything happens and it attracts the attention of the customer. Whereas cold spot is the backside where unwanted or slow moving items are kept. That is how in FMCG language we tell it.
Very good. There is nothing called FMCG language in this. Don't try to pull a fast one on me, please. There is nothing called a hot spot or cold spot in FMCG language. Suresh, don't pull a fast one on the people here. Yeah, next. If you don't know, say you don't know. It's as simple as that. Don't pull fast ones, FMCG language and in high tech. Oh, no, nothing like that. Yeah, next.
So,
Okay, Suresh, calm. This is relax. Yeah.
So can I add something here?
Yeah, please.
So I am just going back to the childhood time when when we were small children, we used to have small things hidden somewhere. It was a game. So we will hide that thing somewhere and we need to find out those objects. So when we are close to that object, they will say hot, hot, hot. When it is very far from us, then they will say cold, cold, cold. So this was an indication. So for me, if I connect it with that, I feel like these are something which are very near and cold can be something which is very far.
Hot spot, cold spot thinking strategy is an extremely important strategy. This was defined in the Blue Ocean strategy, and it has drastically changed how you handle resources. Before I explain what this hotspot, and I'll tell you when you hear what this hotspot and cold spot is, you are going to be blown apart. Because that is by far one of the most, see, I had last time told that this time I'm going to be taking strategy canvas, if you all remember. But then I decided, no, I need to take two more things before I come to strategy canvas. One is this hotspot, cold spot. The second is non-consumer pyramid. Once we do those two, then we will be in a position to understand how to create a strategy. Now, what is this hotspot, cold spot? I will explain it to you. But before that, let's move on to one other very important concept. What is the difference between resource allocation and materials management?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Material is also a resource. When you want to allocate material or HR or anything or finance even, and allocate for some activity, so or some project, that is allocation. And versus material management is economically and as per specification when we manage the consumption of the material. Thank you.
anybody else?
Yes, Guruji. Resource allocation is where I think we are allocating people, time, money, and material is anything which has to do with inventory and store.
Excellent, excellent. You are absolutely right. Assigning resources such as manpower, time, money to projects and tasks is called resource allocation. Planning and controlling the flow of materials and inventory is material management. That means material management, the definition is very narrow. Resource allocation, the process of assigning and distributing of all types of resources, be it human, financial, material, time, to various tasks, departments, and projects based upon priorities and needs is what resource allocation is. Whereas, material management is in a very narrow way. The planning, purchase, movement, storage, and control of material, physical material, and supplies required for production and service delivery. Now let us go back to hot spot and cold spot. What has hot spot and cold spot got to do with resource allocation? Hot spot and cold spot is a term used for resource allocation. Can any one of you think what it could be having?
Things we immediate need should be come in hotspot allocation, and thing we will later on that will come in cold.
No. There are 4 different types of allocations which we will be seeing. The highest category of allocation, which gives you the highest return, is called the hotspot allocation. And the category which gives you the lowest is called the cold spot allocation. We will see that. That is what management is all about. We will see how it goes. So what is resource allocation? Please understand this concept very well, because I am going to be discussing implementation of hotspot and cold spot throughout this session. So wherever you have any doubt, kindly stop me and ask me. Don't hesitate. Because if you can understand this during this program, believe me, you will be reaching multi-levels above your efficiency through this one single masterclass. Because ultimately, business is about allocating resources and getting returns. That is what business is all about. Business is all about resources, be it manpower, be it time, be it money, be it, machinery, whatever talent, whatever you call, the way you allocate those resources to achieving a particular objective is what business is all about. So if you know the science of resource allocation, if you know how to identify where to allocate what resources, if you learn how to identify what is the degree of benefit you are getting out of a particular allocation matrix, then you will become a master in business. What is resource allocation? Resource allocation is the allocation of money, people, technology, time, and material. This is what are the 5 major resources. In people, both effort as well as capability comes in. Technology, time, material, and money. In technology, the machinery will come. Where do you allocate this in your business life? You allocate this on projects. On the various projects that you undertake, you have to allocate all these things. Then, any other place where you can think of allocating them? Will anyone come up and tell me?
Operations,
Pardon, sir.
Okay. Departments.
Activities.
Let us say departments.
What is the question, sir?
Where will you allocate this? One, you will be allocating it to projects which are currently running. Then departments. And then what is the third area where you will be allocating it, which is very, 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 very important, which very few companies and entrepreneurs give attention to?
Innovation.
No. Opportunities.
Opportunity.
Business opportunities. These are the three areas where you will be allocating your resources in projects which are currently running, departments which are currently existing, and business opportunities due to which you may either start a new project or start a new department. Why is resource allocation not easy? Can any one of you tell me? What is the reason why resource allocation has to be studied? Why is resource allocation not an easy thing?
Because they are limited.
Just imagine we have been discussing this, and most of you are finding it difficult to wrap your head around resource allocation. That means there is something very difficult about resource allocation, due to which we have either not given adequate thought to it. And this is not your fault. Most companies don't look at resource allocation as an excellence area. It is something like breathing. You breathe, right? Do you give any importance to it? But that is the most important activity of your life. If you stop breathing, you are no more. But we don't give any importance to it. In the same way, resource allocation is by far the most important activity in any company, because that is what the activity is. There is no other activity. Without resource, there is no company. Without allocation of resource, there is no activity. And without activity, there is no result. So if you trace back, if you connect the dots backwards, resource allocation is what decides everything in a company. But still, 99.99% of the management and managers are unaware of the nuances of resource management. Now tell me, what are the reasons? What are the difficulties in resource management, in resource allocation? Why is it not easy?
Where to allocate, when to allocate, whom to allocate, these are some of the issues.
Constrain in
What-
getting competent resources for the job they are required, and they should be qualified for the job or competent for the job. That is the problem.
Because there's only
scarce resources.
few efficient resources.
Huh?
There's only few efficient resources. For example, people. There are only few people who are very efficient. Now, their presence cannot be in all the projects.
Let us restructure this statement of yours a bit differently, because people are not the only resource. But what you are telling is very right. Only thing is, it has to be restructured slightly differently. The first thing is limited resources, unlimited needs. The needs are unlimited, the resources are limited, so it becomes very difficult where to allocate what. To give you a simple example, Tesla in the early days had to choose between developing Roadster, Model S, building a gigafactory, expanding showrooms, and it couldn't do all these things, and all these things had to be done. The question was, with the amount of resource it had, where the hell to do what? This is first. Limited resources, unlimited needs. What is the second?
As I told, when to deploy the resources. The time part of it is very, very crucial. The materials or technology at the appropriate time, when the customer needs is something allocation, which has to be done.
Unclear priorities. If leadership isn't clear about the most important goals or projects, teams pull resources in different directions, which leads to chaos, frustration, and diluted impact. Because you see, if a company has got 10 different teams working on 10 different projects, the team which makes the loudest noise gets the resources. The team which keeps quiet doesn't get the resources. That means the priorities are not clear in the minds of the people. Example, Reliance Communication. Ambiguous focus between mobile, broadband, enterprise services could not establish a clear winning strategy, leading to bankruptcy. So first is limited resources, limited needs. Second is when the management priorities are not clear, where to work, which project to focus on, then resource allocation becomes a problem. What is the third? What is the third? Can anyone tell me?
Competency
There are-
level.
Huh?
Time.
Competency level at a proper job. Whatever the job it is needed, you don't get
Please
competent.
understand. सोचिए, मैं पूछ रहा हूं कि रिसोर्स एलोकेशन डिफिकल्ट क्यों है? रिसोर्स एलोकेट होने की बात हो रही है यहां पर, उस रिसोर्स को यूज करने की कैपेबिलिटी की बात नहीं हो रही है.
Time, according to time, how to.
Third is emotional and political factors. That means मुझे कोई एक प्रोजेक्ट पसंद है और मैं मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर हूं, मैं उसके लिए पैसा ज्यादा डाल देता हूं, उस पर आदमी लगा देता हूं. There are two senior managers, एक आदमी, one person has got the ear of the boss, वो उसका कान काट के पॉलिटिक्स करके सब resources he takes it away, leaving the other high and dry. Very simple example is Kingfisher Airlines. The emotional attachment to a luxury brand image was so high for Vijay Mallya that he refused to pivot to a more effective airline model, and in the process, Kingfisher Airline drowned. What is the fourth? Please remember, because all these are going, so one of them is happening in your company and you need to be able to identify it so that you can handle it. We will be seeing the entire gamut of how you can identify what's happening in your company, where it is happening, why it is happening, what you can do to change it, how you can change it. That is what today's masterclass is about. So my request is kindly focus on this.
Then we have a biased mindset. So we want to favor somebody to put at certain job somebody. We are biased,
गुरुजी मुझे पता नहीं उसको क्या बोलेंगे, बट इट इज मोर लाइक कि अगर मैंने यहाँ से एलोकेशन मतलब किया, यहाँ से हटाया किसी को, तो देन दैट कैन आई कैन गेट इनटू अ लॉस. मतलब एक जगह को ठीक करने के लिए दूसरी जगह का नुकसान हो सकता है.
Fear factor is one of the aspect.
Yes, fear factor is definitely one of the aspect. That will come later.
Greed to allocate more.
The next step is short-term versus long-term trade-off. Many a time, companies go in for short-term results. In the process, they lose out on the long-term, and the resource allocation becomes very difficult. One of the biggest example of it is Yahoo. Yahoo focused on maximizing quarterly advertising revenue, and in the process lost out on long-term development of a search engine and got wiped out from the market totally. Again, you see resource allocation. Don't forget that Yahoo came much before others as a search engine, but lost out. And today it is a non-existent entity, more because of poor resource allocation. Next, what is the fifth? Socho. Number one, here the resources are limited, the needs are unlimited. That is one of the reasons why resource allocation is very difficult. Our priorities are not clear in our mind. We are not very clear where to focus, where not to focus. So we find it difficult to allocate resources. Number three, we are emotional and political animal. We go with our emotional and political tendencies and feelings, and in the process end up allocating resources in the wrong places and finding it very difficult to allocate resources properly. Fourth is the trade-off between short-term and long-term. Should we go in for short-term benefits or should we work for long-term benefit? This trade-off creates a problem in resource allocation. What is the next?
Sometimes, sir, the scope of the project is not well defined.
Lack of confidence of working out the resource into profitable possibility.
Prejudiceness of higher.
Changing markets. If we are not having our ear to the ground, markets change, we continue to be allocating resources through our old thinking, in our old convictions, and that makes resource allocation very difficult. Example is Kodak, BlackBerry. BlackBerry believed that keyboard phones were forever, underinvested in touchscreen R&D as the market shifted. And then Kodak, Kodak invested heavily in films when the market had moved to digital photography. Then Mahanagar MTNL is another very classical example, continues focusing on landline services and slow-paced broadband while private companies disrupted with mobile and internet market. So you see, changing markets makes resource allocation extremely difficult. What is the next one? Make a note of it. Let these enter into your head because these are affecting your company's performance. Whether you are a manager like Bala or you are an entrepreneur like Jayesh Ji or you are a consultant like Yogesh and Vikas, all these things are affecting your clients in a very big way. Whenever you enter into an office or into your office or into your factory, look at it. Understand that you have got limited resources, but unlimited needs are there. So I need to be able to be very focused and conscious of resource allocation. The problem is not that you don't allocate resources, you do. But the problem is you do it in an offhand manner without thinking of the consequences. You don't have unlimited resources. You have got very limited resources. The number of machinery is limited. The amount of money you have is limited. The time in your hand is limited. The number of people working are limited. And unless you are going to be able to move them like a chess piece efficiently on the board, the results will not come. So we are going to see today how to do that. So after what is the sixth one? The sixth one is measurement challenges. It's often hard to measure which activities drive value. We think something is driving value, but we do it through a gut feeling. Without good data or clarity, resources get spread too thin or invested in the wrong place. Simple example is Ambassador car, Hindustan Motors. Kept on investing in Ambassador car without strong customer feedback loop or market data, missing changing preferences of the customer. Today, again, Ambassador has launched, but it's nowhere. Measurement challenges. So you need to have the correct data and the correct metrics. Measure the correct things. That is why OKR, KPI is so very important. objective key results and key performance indices is so important because it not only sets the goal, but measures what you are doing. And what is the seventh one? The most important thing is fear of failure. This fear of failure is one of the reasons why we continue to do what we are doing. We get back to the example of BlackBerry. Despite poor Tata Motors, despite poor sales, Tata Motors hesitated too long before pivoting or retiring the Nano project. By the time they retired the Nano project, they had already lost over 1,000 crores. That is the level of problem that they had, all because they could have very easily taken away all the resources that they had invested on Tata's non-nano and put it on something else and saved it. But they didn't do that. There are two things. Number one, they did not want to fail. It was an ego problem. Second thing is, it was an emotional investment of Ratan Tata. Here we saw the emotional and political factor. Both these combined together created 1,000 crore loss and a loss of face and prestige for the Tatas. Even today, Nano is regarded to be the biggest failure of the Tatas. Now let us understand how many different types of allocations are there, resource allocations are possible. Can anyone tell me? Pin drop silence.
अब गुरुजी आप जिस आपसे the way you have told us in the last slide, it was 5 things: money, material, people, time, and technology.
Those are resources.
So you are asking us how many
different types of resource allocations are possible?
for resource allocation. Okay.
How many types of resources? I'm not asking. How many different types of resource allocation are possible?
We can borrow from some other company, outsource.
Now, have you understood my question correctly?
Not very much.
Then ask now. How many different types of resource allocations are possible?
Sir, since you are asking a number, I can guess a number.
Guess the number.
5 maybe.
Okay, what makes you say 5? There must be some reason you have come up with 5.
Yes, since you have identified the reasons we are not able to allocate the resources appropriately, the 7 reasons that you just highlighted, I condensed them into 5 types. That is, all the 7 are not addressable, but maybe combined in a combined fashion, 5 of them are addressable that way. That was
Okay,
my
now
guess.
let me ask you a question, Jayesh.
Yes, sir.
Resources are allocated for what reason?
For maximizing the benefit and efficiency of the performance.
Return.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
On one side you have resource, on the other side you have returns.
Yes, sir.
How many
Output.
combinations are possible?
Input, output. Input
How
is
many
resource.
combinations are possible? That many types of resource allocation will be possible, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So how many combinations are possible?
4.
What are they?
Low input, high output.
Correct. Now you have got it right.
Yes, sir.
You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Low input, low output.
Yes, sir.
Low input, high output.
Yes, sir.
High input, high output. High input, low output.
Yes, sir.
Low input, low output is cold spot. High input, high output is hot spot. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
You see, simple. Business is a very simple, logical thing.
Low input, low output is cold spot.
Cold spot. Do you want that?
And no.
Then high input, high output is hot spot. Okay, now is there anything even better than that?
No input, high output.
Correct. Low input, high output is super hot. What is super cold?
High input, low output.
Fantastic. Now you know. Now you go back to your factory and
So tight.
start looking for it.
Yes, sir.
In today's program, I will tell you where all through research they have found hot spot exists, cold spot exists, super cold exists, super hot exists.
That's right.
You are going to get everything today laid out on a table. If you can absorb it, see the recording again, go to your factory and office with that in your mind. Believe me, in 2 days, there will be an earthquake in your office. Let's move. Let's start creating an 8 Richter scale earthquake.
Yes, sir.
The 4 types of resource allocation. On one side, you have got resources, the other side, you have returns. Low returns, low resources. Do you want this? You don't want it.
We want high return. Yes.
Then you have got high resources, low returns. Now, what happens? You see how companies evolve. They start off with low resource, low return. Then they identify some areas which can produce well, that they start increasing the resources. Slowly the returns start increasing. Then you reach high returns, high resources. This is where the main mistake happens. Once the returns are high and the resources are high, what you do, you start thinking, अरे returns तो आ रहा है, कम से कम resources को थोड़ा कम कर देते हैं यहाँ पर. You start reducing the resources. You make it high returns, low resources. It slides into low resources, low returns. Sit down, think where all this is happening in your company. Let us see examples of this. High resource, high returns. Reliance Jio, Tata Steel acquiring Chorus, Infosys scaling up globally. Why? Because you see, high return, high resources, low return was when they went internationally with their services. Then they start scaling up in a very big way. Infosys came to this. Then high return, low resources. What are those? Zero Dawn. Royal Enfield's revival of the Eicher motor, revival by Eicher motor. Amul's early entry into milk procurement technology. All these things are high returns with low resources. Low return with low resources. Nerolac in decorative paints. HMT watches. Air India before privatization. All these are low return, low resources. Going in is no meaning. Then high resources, low returns. Kingfisher Airlines, Anil Ambani's Reliance Communication, Videocon entering into oil and natural gas exploration, which they went into. All these are instances of high resources, low returns, which ruined the companies. So you have got 4 different types of resource allocation in any company, and maybe something in between these in the cusp as it is moving. You have got high returns, high resources, which is the best thing to have. You should not be worried about investing in those areas which give you very high returns. Then there are high returns with low resources, which is also an extraordinarily good thing. These are super hot areas. Resources required for these areas is very low, but the returns are very, very high. You should, like a plague, avoid low return, low resources, because you will stagnate and one day go out of market. Imagine if Air India was not privatized, it would have gone fut. HMT, gone fut. Nerolac decorative paints, gone fut. Then high resources, low return, absolute suicidal. Kingfisher Airlines, Anil Ambani's Reliance Communication, Videocon, everything went bankrupt. because they had put in very high money and the returns were very low. Where usually these allocations happen in a company. Let us look at the type of which are the places where these allocations happen. High return, high resource allocations, where do they happen? In launching a flagship product line, global expansion, implementation of world-class ERP, all these things are areas, building an in-house logistic network, major rebranding initiative. These are all high return, high resource areas. They require very high returns. Done properly, they can give you excellent result. Now, what are the areas where your low resources, high returns happen? Can anyone of you tell me?
Blue Ocean Initiative.
True, but what are the areas?
Expansions, expansions.
In a way, you are right. For instance,
Factors of a product.
introducing a simple product variant that the customers love. That is a very fast-moving product. You introduce this product variant. Running a referral program among existing customers is another low resource but high return area. If you can run successfully a referral program, launching an employee-driven innovation initiative, where you give small prizes and recognition, but can, drive huge cost saving. All these things are examples of low resources and high returns. Any company which wants to scale up fast, these are the low-hanging fruits where not much money is required. But what happens? Increasing the awareness of your company in the marketplace is a low resource, high return. Like what Mr. Yogesh is doing now. Posting posters so that his company name is known to more number of people. The resource required is very low. Returns are very high because how many people see today niche must be known by how many more people? How many more companies must be knowing about niche? These are simple, small, low resource things which can give you very high returns. What are low resource, low returns? Minor updates to non-core product. Now, a product is not a core product, but still you are working on it. Then you are participating in local exhibitions, sending emails, newsletters, running a basic social media page without promotion. Or, many people, what they do. How many of you have got a website? So everyone has raised his hand. When was the last time you visited your website? You forget others. I'm not even asking about others. When was it you last visited it?
Possibly 4-5 days back, I think.
So if Mr. Dushyant, that is the amount of importance you are going to give to your website, what is the importance the customer is going to give? Now let me tell you why you created the website. Because website hona jaruri hai. Isn't it so?
Absolutely.
Now just imagine. It is a totally, your resource has been wasted. You are not monitoring the website performance. You are not taking any steps on it. It has to be there. It is there. It is like just another table or chair in your house. And we call it a resource. This is a classic example of a low resource, low return situation. Running a basic social media page without promotions, adding small features to low selling products. Any other product is self-selling, not selling adequately. What is the point in adding an upsell feature to it when it is not even selling? Then we come to high resources, low returns, that is launching a complicated product that the customers don't understand or want. Very classic example is Google Glass. There was no, survey done to find out whether the Google Glass is required or not. You simply launch it. Because you are technologically great, you believe that our product is very good, it's a great technological achievement, who cares? Other than maybe the person who has thought about it in your R&D department, who else cared about it? You launched it 3 times and it fell down totally. Heavy investment in a fancy office. Market है नहीं, sales है नहीं, revenue है नहीं, office बहुत शानदार है एकदम. What is the point in it? Getting celebrities to endorse your products when you don't have a market. Overstuffing a new market entry before validating the demand, doing all sorts of jugglery. Have you seen the WhatsApp group is full of digital marketing advertisements? 20x, 30x, this much lead, that much lead. And people fall for it. They promise you 20x without even asking you what is the damn product and is there a market for it. According to them, if you appoint them, they will give you 20x sales. If it is 0, 20 into 0 is... Yes, Raju sir.
Arun sir, I have two questions. First thing
Yes.
is, when you're doing a resource allocation, you don't know how much return you're getting on that. You will
Absolutely
know
right.
that only at the time of, you will know that only after the project is finished. Okay,
No.
that's
No. I disagree with you on that point. On what basis did you bring the product? There must be a basis for that.
yeah,
You
based on the
must have
project
done
is
some
different.
work on it. What is the basis of it? Now, second thing is, did you go through demographics or did you go through customer behavior? Let us say there is a meditation app. Okay? There is a 65-year-old. And there is a 35-year-old senior manager. Work on demographics and show me where you will place it.
Yeah, for the higher age person.
Why?
Because the chances of their acceptance is high.
Why? Meditation app is for what purpose?
For calming down the person.
Calming down. Who requires calming down more? A 35-year-old executive who is in a rat race running like a mad dog, or a 65-year-old who's retired? Demographics gone for a sixer first. But if you take behavior, you will place it for both. Both a 65-year-old who is a possible patient of insomnia and a 35-year-old who can't sleep because of office tension. If a meditation app is to calm down, it will calm down both. So if you go by psychographic analysis, this product is positioned for both. Demographic will not work. Now I'll ask you the same question. Let us look at it from a different angle. There is a pauper and there is a prince. Where will you position this, meditation app?
To the prince.
Why?
Because one lead leads to 1,000 leads.
The prince, because he has a sedentary lifestyle, no interest, everything is available to him, sleep is lost. And the pauper, because he has nothing, so he can't sleep. So again, you see, it will work out well for both of them. Why I'm trying to tell you this is, you see, psychographic analysis of the customer segment will always give you better results. So you see, any project, you can have a good estimate of what the outcome is going to be if you have undertaken the correct analysis of the customer journey, and the customer journey is always psychographic in nature, not demographic in nature. That is where, you know, design thinking scores over every other science, because design thinking emphasizes on customer journey and empathy mapping. Okay, that is another set of story. We will come to that later. But
Okay.
here you can see.
Yeah. My second question is,
Yeah.
that can I say that in terms of services, business of services and trading is a place where you get a high returns and low resources?
I couldn't understand your question.
No, what I'm saying is in the
Split
segment
the
of,
question into easily understandable segments.
can I say in the business of service industry and trading?
Trading like in stock market,
No,
forex
not
exchange.
stock market, buying and selling goods.
Oh, that is your the regular commercial
Trading.
activity. Yeah,
Yeah,
trading
commercial
activity.
trading.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
say that these activities can be grouped under the high return, low resources?
Not necessarily. Now you tell me one thing, Alfa Romeo. Let us say Alfa Romeo car. May I request others to kindly mute? Let us take Lamborghini car. Is it high resources, low return? Or low resources, high return?
If there's a back-to-back order from the customer to the supplier, then it is a high return.
Simple. Is it low resources and high return, or high resources and low return?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there's a back-to-back
No
order.
back-to-back. Leave all that conditionalities. It is a low resource, high return. Can you tell me why? You're charging for the brand, not for the product. A brand is not an abstract concept. If you can convince the customer that this is a Lamborghini, the price will not matter. If you can't convince him it is a Lamborghini, the car will not matter.
Yes.
So you see, it varies even with the services. Simple, sir. Vikas is a consultant, right? Yogesh is a consultant. McKinsey is a consultant. Boston Consulting Group is a consultant. What is the difference in their prices?
Yeah. 1:100.
What Vikas will offer might be even better than what McKinsey can offer. But what McKinsey will charge will be astronomical as compared to what Vikas can charge. So you see, ultimately, all these things are totally dependent upon how you take it forward. See, we will see as we go forward how to go about doing it. Are you clear now? Now, the first thing we will see, we have seen where usually these allocations happen in a company, launching a flagship product, expansion, global expansion, implementing a world-class ERP system. All these things come under high returns, high resource. High return, low resource are introducing a simple product variant that customers love. Supposing there is a particular product, like for instance, let us say Lamborghini has got a product. Lamborghini as a brand is Lamborghini female they come out with. For lady drivers, all the wives of the multi-billionaires will go and make a beeline to buy the Lamborghini female. Then it will be what? Low resource, high returns. Because all that the person has done is maybe given it a mauve color or a beige color, a feminine color, and then, rounded off the, what do you call it, the edges, given it a feminine look, and sell it at a premium price. Now let us see some of the hotspot areas which are neglected, hidden opportunities in a company. Where can you look for them and how do you look for them? Because that is what is of interest to all the people sitting here. What are the signs that a particular area is a hotspot, but it is neglected? Don't you think this will be of interest to everyone?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yes.
Small product or customer group or geography growing faster than others. Have you ever tried to find out at what pace are the different customer groups growing? Has any one of you here tried to study that? Have any one of you tried to see which product group is growing at what speed? Which customer group is growing at what speed? Which geography is growing at what speed? We haven't, isn't it? How long do you think it will take if you were to study it? There are so many trade journals. All that we will need to do is pick up those trade journals, subscribe to them, and then go through them once in a month or once in a fortnight, whenever they come, and understand it. Isn't it? Mathur Saab. Mr. Mathur.
Yes, sir.
माथुर साहब.
हाँ सर.
जरा वीडियो ऑफ करके आप मूव कीजिए क्योंकि यहां डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है. प्लीज.
माधुरी जी, आपके 2 अप्लायंसेस हैं. यू आर यूजिंग 2 अप्लायंसेस.
ठीक हो गया. Okay, the first thing is go and study which product is which product segment is growing at what speed, which customer group is growing at what speed, which geography is growing at what speed. You will know which of these segments you need to focus on. It won't take much time. मैक्सिमम महीने में मेरे ख्याल से 15 मिनट यदि आप इसके लिए डिवोट कर दें तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि कौन सा हॉटस्पॉट आपके कंपनी में हिडन है जिस पे आप यदि फोकस करेंगे तो यू कैन ग्रो फास्टर. सेकंड, a small team or project delivering surprisingly high margin or customer love. That means maybe there is some service executive or a small team which is handling a project which is doing surprisingly well, but since they can't make noise, they are not visible. Everyone cannot make noise. Some people are very silent. And these people lose out. And more than them, you lose out because you don't know who to back. Maybe some customer executive is giving such excellent service that his customers love him. But we don't know how to utilize him accordingly because he doesn't make any noise. I'm sure you all have feedback forms. How many of you have feedback forms? Do you have feedback forms? Do you have feedback forms? You don't have feedback forms?
No,
Yes,
sir.
I have.
You should all have a feedback form so that you will know what customer feedback is. There you will know which service executive is giving you the best service. Service executive is giving good service to the customer means he is giving good service to you also because your customer is your business. And if you back this service executive, he can turn out to be the hotspot where with the smallest amount of resource, just a pat in the back, just a pat in the back will ensure that he will give you gold. Then we come to the third. Side product of pet project that outperforms expectations. For instance, you might have many products in your basket. But what happens is after a period of time, we tend to look at all the products with the same eye. We don't try to analyze which product is giving us the highest margin at the lowest price. All products do not cost the same to you, but they all are treated in the same way. Look into each product's performance in terms of returns on investments by you. This can give you a very good idea where the opportunity is hidden. Innovation projects that are bootstrapped but have high user traction. There might be many products, which have very high traction. But because of lack of money, we don't treat them equal, with that sort of an importance. How many of you have periodically thought and looked at your product?
Come back,
Vikas
sir,
ji,
once again.
Mr. Vikas,
Yes, Guruji.
आप जरा ऑफ कर दीजिएगा वीडियो को अपना, प्लीज. हाँ, yes. How many of you keep a track of what is the return of each of your products? जयेश जी, आप देखते हैं?
No, sir.
क्यों?
We do not have that system in place. We try to do costing, but it is random. It is not focused. So that is
Then
why
how will you know which product is giving you profit, which product is not giving you profit, whether the profit is worth it or not?
Right, sir.
है कि नहीं? इसी मान लीजिए आप 10 यूनिट बना सकते हैं दिन में, तो कौन सा बनाना आप पसंद करेंगे? 1 रुपया प्रॉफिट देने वाला कि 10 रुपया प्रॉफिट देने वाला?
10 रुपया प्रॉफिट.
लेकिन यदि हम चेक ही नहीं करेंगे कि which product is giving me what return, how
Yes,
will I know what to do?
Right, sir.
Huh? All products are not the same.
Correct, sir.
Then finally, business unit generating high returns on investment but getting low internal resource allocation. You need to understand where the resource allocation is the lowest, and in comparison to that, what is it that we are getting? You see, Mr. Jayesh, when we were discussing, first thing I observed was that certain products are giving you a certain percentage of your total revenue. We were discussing that, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, not just revenue, out of that revenue, what is the profitability you are getting out of it? Maybe a product is giving you 75% revenue. But if it is giving only 25% profit, and another product which is giving you 25% revenue is giving you 100% profit, which is better?
100% profit.
The 25% which is giving you 100% profit is giving
Yes.
you more profit than the 75% sales, which is giving you 25% profit.
Correct.
So you see, now you know where the hotspot is hidden. So if you start putting your efforts on selling this 25% product, that which is having 25% market share for your company,
Yes.
you exponentially start growing.
Yes, sir.
Signs of neglected hotspots. Now, ये तो इतने आसान से बोल दिए, लेकिन कैसे आप आइडेंटिफाई कीजिएगा इसको? There must be some way of identifying. Now let us see how we can identify those. Number one, compare growth versus resource allocation. किस product पे how much we have allocated? What is the growth of this product? That will tell. Supposing you have got 5 products and you have got 100 rupees that you are allocating, or you have got 2 machineries and you take each machinery 8 hours per day, it is running, so 16 hours. 16 hours divided by 5, which product is taking how much time? Or you have got 10 people, how they are assigned to handle these 2 products, and then you see what is the growth rate you are getting from those products. That will tell you what is happening. If you compare it for all the 5 products, you know where the a hotspot is hidden. Number two, look at customer feedback. That's why, customer feedback is very important. What customers are loving, but the company isn't scaling. What is it they like about your product? What is it they like about your company? What is it they like about your relationship with them? And are you focusing on that area which they like? Now, let me ask you a simple question. There are consultants here, there are business owners here. What is the first thing you see when you see a customer feedback form?
Well, the smiles, the smile that comes in from the customer.
That smile that comes in from the customer is what we should see ideally.
The wow factor, rather.
The wow factor is what we should see, so that we will know what we can do to repeat it from coming again and again. But
I have a
most
question.
people, they look at the complaints.
But I do have a question there, because we are typically into B2B. We are not into B2C.
Excellent. B2B, even more important, isn't it?
And B2B, the more wow we get, the more complicated the product gets.
Excuse me, B2B is not a simple linear relationship.
Absolutely.
It's not a B2C relationship.
Absolutely.
B2C, you are handling one person. B2B, you are handling multiple people, multiple customers, and multiple requirements.
Absolutely.
The requirement of the purchase department is not the same as the requirement of the accounts and finance department or the project department. Second thing is, the customer is not the user.
Absolutely.
And the customer is not the person who's going to pay. Each one could have a totally different expectation from you. So you see, it is in B2B that the feedback form becomes that much more important, because in each individual's case, in each vertical or silo, you have to look for the good things which you can replicate and take it forward. When you bring a problem from problem to no problem, you are coming from minus to zero. You are not moving forward. But creating a hotspot is all about moving ahead of that zero and going to one from the minus. That is the reason, why being able to identify that wow factor is very, very important. So you see, when you take, today, earlier, they used to talk about customer service, customer expectation, customer satisfaction. Today, all that has been relegated in the background. What has come forward is customer experience. When you talk about customer service, customer problem, and customer satisfaction, you're talking about coming from -1 to 0. But it's when you work on the customer journey and take it ahead to the wow factor through customer experience, you are taking him from -1 to +1. That is where the hotspot lies. How you can take it to +1. And that is where, your feedback forms come in. So a company which does not have a customer feedback form starts off being handicapped already. The first thing every company should ideally do is create a feedback form, not very exhaustive, simple feedback. What did you not like about my company? What did you like about my company? Are two simple questions which can get you everything that you want. Because, the more choices you give, less answers you will get. Don't give too many choices. रसगुल्ला गुलाब जामुन रख के बोलो कौन सा चाहिए, सेलेक्ट करना बहुत आसान है. रसगुल्ला, गुलाब जामुन, पेड़ा, बर्फी, लड्डू, देखते रहेगा बोले छोड़िए साहब, डायबिटीज है.
जलेबी.
So don't give too many choices. The brain cannot handle it. Yes, Dushanji, any other question?
No, so typically what we have been doing is it's a B2B and C, because we sell it to the final customer and it goes to the converter. That's what we do. And we get a wow from the final customer. That's what we have been doing it.
Okay. But what about the intermediate person? Unless he buys, the final customer doesn't get it.
No, but it's nominated. So he has to purchase. And we need to take care that he gets it.
But why don't we look at it in a slightly different way? He may be nominated, but what is his motivation in pushing the product forward? If you could create a wow in him also, maybe you could take it to a slightly higher level.
Yes, possible.
Because, you know, every person in the ring, in the chain, plays a role.
True.
You can, maybe, you know, that is where your hotspot could be. Maybe that is where the hotspot is neglected. Just think about it. Just you know, something to think about. So look at customer feedback, what customers are loving, but the company isn't scaling. Then comes review profitability per unit. Sometimes small divisions are hidden gems. Per unit profitability checking up is very, very important. You know, we normally see what happens as a small entrepreneur or as a self-employed individual. What do most self-employed individuals do? At the end of the year, पिछले साल 25 लाख बनाए हैं, इस साल 30 लाख किए हैं, चलिए 25 में 20% improvement है. That's the way they go. They don't try to see what has contributed to that 25 lakh last year, what has contributed to this 30 lakhs this year. How, if I marginally increase all elements of that 25 lakh, I could have gone even beyond 30 lakhs. See, it is not a question of 25 lakhs and 30 lakhs or growing by 20%. The question is, have you been able to achieve the best that is possible with what you have in your hand? There are two ways of looking at it. You could be satisfied with what you got, or you can aim at what you can and leave the satisfaction factor behind. What is it you can do? What is it you can achieve? Further, you need to review the profitability of per unit and see which are the things which can be scaled in a much bigger fashion. Maybe that one thing which we are not really very enamored of could be the hidden gem. For instance, let me say, see, Mr. Yogesh, who is a consultant here, he has got multiple products. He does auditing, he does process management, he does training, all these things he does. Maybe he likes one of these 5, 6 things which he does very much. Yogeshji, can you unmute?
Yes, sir.
Your video. Maybe he likes one of these 5 things, 6 things he does very much. And he keeps on focusing on that. Let us say it is auditing. He likes very much, he keeps focusing. His entire focus is on auditing. He keeps asking his team members, हाँ तो audit का कितना केस मिला, हम लोगों ने पिछले साल इतना किया, इस साल अभी तक कितना किए, all these things. But who knows? The real revenue might be in training and not auditing. And ultimately, he is doing business for what? For satisfying his, for achieving a satisfaction through auditing or by making money through his company? That's a question he needs to ask. If satisfaction is what you want, continue auditing. And if it is money you want, then start focusing on training. I'm not telling that it is like that. I'm trying to explain to you how this.
Analyze?
Huh?
How do we analyze?
How do you analyze? You sit down and see. By training last year, I spent this much time. This much companies came to me. These are the type of companies that came to me. These are the type of companies I'm currently working with who require this. This is what they are willing to pay. This is what I can make through training because this is the input which is required from my end. So the returns are better. Now the decision is, do I focus here? Do I focus there? It does not mean you neglect auditing. It only means you focus greater on training, because auditing could be somewhere in between a high return, high resource, low return, and here you have high return, high resource. Which one do you want? Do you want high returns? Both being high resource input? Do you want medium and low return, or you want
High
medium
return.
to high return?
Right.
And finally, you come to talk to your frontline employees. They know what's working, which the leadership might not know. Talk to your shop floor level people. They know which is easier, which is costing less to make. They could give you a good, idea of where the hotspots lie. Let us see some very simple example. One very good example is there, right? Like Tata Nano, which was a disaster, and the Tata company did not take decision and lost 1,000 crore. Tata company did another great thing to identify a hotspot. Titan company, they launched watches. But smartwatch came and ruined them literally. It was at that time that they launched, the Tanishq, the jewelry range, that took off in such a big way that they went on and partnered with Carter Lane, and they have now penetrated very deep into the jewelry market with a combination of Tanishq and Carter Lane. On one side, because of emotional attachment, because they did not want to accept failure, the fear of failure, they lost 1,000 crore on Nano. On the other side, they took a right decision at the right time when smartwatches came and they were on the verge of being killed. You see, Titan was a jewelry watch. They were going to be killed totally. They shifted to Tanishq. Titan is still there, but then Tanishq is a better brand today. It's a more paying brand. And now they have partnered with Carter Lane Diamonds, and in the process, they have built a huge jewelry market in India. How do you identify cold spots? What are the cold spots? That means resource drains. Which are the areas from where the resource is being drained in your company? This is also a very important thing you should know. High operational costs, but stagnant and falling revenues. But if you are not going to be doing a product-wise analysis, how will you know this? Which has got high operational cost, but is maintaining a stagnant sales and the revenues are falling. If sales is stagnant, please understand one thing, revenue is falling. Because with every passing day, inflation is eating away into the profitability of the product. The salaries is eating away into the profitability of the product because every year salary is increasing. Raw material cost is increasing. Electricity cost, the utility costs are increasing. Everything is increasing. So if your sales is stagnant, automatically your profitability is decreasing. Second, constant need for discounts to sell products. Discounts need not necessarily be monetary discount. It could be delayed payment from your customer also is a discount. If the person says, I will pay you in 30 days, pays you in 45 and 60 days, you have already lost 2% in finance cost. That is also discount. If the customer tells you that you please send it free of cost, FOR to the destination, the goods, that is also a form of discount. High employee turnover or lack of internal excitement is another very serious cold spot. If you are losing employees regularly, if there is no excitement in the people working in your company, then that is a very serious cold spot because it is a huge resource drain. These drains constitute 24% of the total revenue generated by the company. 24%. Then comes continuous marketing spend with near no real brand traction. Keeping on spending on marketing activities with no increase in brand image or sales is another very serious resource drain. Customer moving to competitors. Customers becoming non-customers is another great resource drain. Retaining a customer and getting a customer, the difference is 7 times. If to retain a customer, you spend 1 rupee, to get a new customer, you have to spend 7 rupees. This is another huge resource drain. You need to look into the type of churn rate that you have. This is where the concept of customer lifetime value and churn rate comes in. What is the degree of churn rate? How many customers are you have lost in the last 6 months or 1 year? And how many customers have moved away? How many new customers have come in? This calculation is very important. Then what is the per customer invoice value? What is the lifetime value of a customer? Looking into these will tell you where the cold spots are. Finally, management is always giving excuses for temporary problems in that unit. Constantly, people are giving you excuses for temporary problems. Always some excuses there. Why something is happening. This is a clear indication that it is a cold spot. So what are the cold spots? High operational cost, but stagnant and falling resources, revenues. Constant need for discounts to sell products. Constant demand by the customer for something more than what you are in a position to give. High employee turnover is an indication of the cold spot. Having to continuously spend on marketing with no real brand traction. What do we mean by that? Can anyone explain to me? How do you know that there is no brand traction?
Guruji, because the sales or the revenue is not going up because of, I can say, like one of the organization, they are with, they do their sales with through the referrals. So the referral sales is growing, and because we know the referrals which we are getting, we are tracking it, and the traction and the money which we have spent on the marketing campaigns and the social media, that there we have not got any leads.
Don't confuse yourself or don't make it complex, Vikasji. Very simple. The industry is growing at 12% rate.
Okay.
If you are not growing at beyond 12%, then there is no traction.
No, but Guruji, the question is that how we know that we are the marketing spend with the no real brand traction.
That's what I'm telling. If you are spending and not growing at over 12%, you are not growing. Yeah, there is no market traction. See, supposing, let us say, just a minute. What does the market growing at 12% mean?
Market is growing with the 12%, the industry is growing.
So what does it mean?
Numbers are increasing proportionately every year, 12%.
That means even if you don't do anything, that is how much the market is going to grow, and you are going to grow by that much.
Yes.
By default, you are growing.
By default, you are growing.
Yes.
So if you are doing marketing and still growing at 12%, what does it mean?
That the marketing is not giving the results.
That's all. Simple.
But Guruji,
just a minute.
Yeah.
Now, you see, now you have got, when you did your goal setting, what are the 4 stages of goal setting you did? First, marketing growing at 12%.
Yeah, as it is.
Second
is the
intervention, your intervention.
Correct.
You decided my intervention will grow it by 20%.
Yes.
That means you'll go to 32%.
Yes.
Third in new product introduction.
Yes.
We said another 15% for that.
Yes.
32 plus 15, 47.
Yes. And then a new geography.
And then new geographies, you said 5%, we will go 47 plus 5, 52%.
Yes.
Now you have got the data for new geographies in front of you.
Yes.
Remove that. New products, you have got the data in front of you.
Yeah.
Remove that.
Yeah.
12% is the standard at which the market is growing. Remove that. What is left out?
But 20% of the intervention.
Intervention. If you are not going at 20%, that means your marketing spend is not giving you the traction.
Yeah.
Simple. No need to break our head. How much sale is coming from new areas? You see, this much is coming. What percentage is it? If it is 5%, you are on target. New product, how much it has sold? What percentage of the total revenue it is? Say 15%. That means 15% is our target for new products. We have achieved that. 12% is the standard market growing at 12%. So 1 crore will become 1 crore 12 lakhs. Remove that. What is left out? If it is 20 lakhs, that means your marketing intervention is working. If it is below 20 lakhs, it is not working. Are you clear? Because you know.
Yes.
So you see, the more less we keep it complex, the better it is for us to understand and work with it. That is why I said, you know, first is clarity. You should have clarity in your goal. How is this figure coming? Then you will know where you are falling short. Now, these are the prevalent cold spots, the resource drains. But how do you spot these places in your company? Number one, check resource allocation versus output. Lots of input, poor results. There is a problem here. You have got no, that is why, you know, we say slice your pie and see how the resources are allocated. Supposing 100 rupees you are allocating, where you are allocating these 100 rupees. Now tell me one thing, how many of you do employee or work audit? Any replies? No.
When people ask for additional requirements, that's the time we do an audit of the time they're spending on various activities.
You see, that means as a matter of policy, we don't do it regularly.
Yes.
When we don't do regularly an employee work audit, then what is the use of having a JD, or what is the use of allocating people responsibilities and accountabilities? And how long does it take to do a work audit? Very little time. If you are doing it regularly, very little time is required. Similarly, do we do machine time audit? Do we do an audit of input versus output of raw material?
Yes.
This maybe most companies will do. Machine time also, you know, they might do. But two things which they don't definitely do is people work audit, they don't do. Money audit, they don't do. How much money is being allocated to what activity? These are two very important things. Check your resource allocation versus the output. You will be able to identify the cold spots. Number two, track cost per acquisition rising over time with declining loyalty. You see, customer is the reason we are all existing. And he is the one person whom we neglect the most. How many companies do a customer acquisition analysis? How many companies try to find out how much per customer is costing us to get? How long he is staying with us? What is our churn rate? How long does a customer remain with us? How many repeat purchases he is making? We don't even have a system. Most companies don't have a system by which they do it. And even companies, very big companies, which have got a system of keeping a track of their customer, don't follow up on their customer. Is Bala there here? No, he was traveling, so okay. Then we come to look at the market share trends. A flat or falling market share is a warning. Have we ever checked our market share, or do we talk only in gross terms that we have done 2,000 crore turnover? So let us say you are doing 1,800 crore this year. Last year, this year you have done 2,000 crore. Is it good, bad, ugly? What is it?
It should be benchmarked against the segment we are in.
Correct. It should be benchmarked against the segment we are in, and we should know at what speed that market is growing.
Yes.
Because from 1,800 to 2,000 you have come, that means 200 is your growth. 200 is approximately how much? 11%? Of 1,800, 11% is approximately 200, isn't it? Supposing, let us say the market is growing by 30% and you are growing at 11%. Do you think it is good? The question is very simple. Are we working or are we building the company? If you are working in the company, that's okay. All these things don't matter. But if you are the entrepreneur, if you are the promoter and you are building the company, then this is gross injustice to the company and the employees. Because you're not doing your job. This is what, as an entrepreneur, you should be doing. And then the final question, if we shut this product market today, would we miss it badly? Ask that question. What will happen if we shut this product? Will it make a very big difference to the product, to the company? Because when you shut the product, certain amount of revenue will stop, certain amount of profits will stop, but at the same time, lot of input will also stop. That input can be used adequately in some other direction, profitably in some other direction. Who knows? If it is a cold spot, lot of blocked revenue, material, man, talent, effort will be available to you to put in some other area. A very simple example is Coffee Cafe Day. They kept pouring resources into outlets that were losing footfall. You know what happened after that? The promoter had to go and commit suicide. Another great example is Idea. While the whole world was moving towards 4G and 5G, here was a company which kept on investing in 2G and 3G. Outcome? Today, they are important only to the extent of being an example in this program, but otherwise they don't exist in the market. So you see, the main reasons why resources get wrongly allocated is legacy momentum. We have always done it this way. People don't want to change. Are you one of them? Is your company one of them? Is it that you continue doing things the way you are doing? Number two, lack of visibility or bad data. You don't have any data available to work with. You don't work with data. You don't work with information. You work with emotion. You work with gut feeling. You work with the way you have always been working. Third, Internal politics and power center. There are people in the company who pull the company in their own direction. It could be an employee, it could be another director, it could be an investor, it could be anybody. And they are not allowing the right resources, your allocation of the resources in the right way. Or it could be misaligned KPIs and incentives. Remember one thing, what you incentivize gets repeated. You know, there is this story of a man was fishing. And he was trying to fish big fishes. So what he did, he put the thing and, was waiting when a snake came. To get rid of the snake, he took a bunch of worms and gave it to it. It caught it, went away. It came again. Again, he gave it some worms. It went away. Third time again, it came. He gave some more worms. Now, what do you think happened?
It
It
becomes
don't.
a habit.
It did
It
not come
becomes a
alone.
habit.
This time, it did not come alone. It brought its whole family with it. Now, tell me one thing. What the hell was the fisherman going to do? Was he going to fish or going to feed the snake? So, what you incentivize keeps getting repeated. So, tell me, what is it you are incentivizing in your company? And then you see, what are the key performance indices you have? In many companies, there are people who are very close to the boss, and that guy's job is to take the boss's son and daughter to the school and bring from the school. What is the key performance indices of this company for being termed an efficient and important employee?
Taking the boss's children to the school and
Bringing the boss's children from the school, buying grocery for the boss's wife, going and paying the electricity bill. These are the jobs which gets incentivized. Key performance indices. What is the key performance indices in your company? Is it aligned with performance or is it something else? See, I'm not joking. I'm not saying you people are doing this. I'm telling you that this is what is happening in the industry. Then cognitive biases in leadership. What are the cognitive biases? Sunk cost fallacy. We have already invested so much, we can't stop now. And then there is the recency bias. Just before that, something succeeded, so you think everything will succeed. Then here is the halo effect. A strong leader or a charismatic manager influences allocation, even if the numbers don't justify it, because he was successful in the past, because he makes the loudest noise, because he dresses very well. He is thought to be the person who knows everything. These cognitive biases in leaderships make resource allocation totally wrong. Next time you are tempted to accept someone's words, question it. That is the way to move forward. Whoever it may be, it doesn't matter. It could be the most productive employee of your organization. It doesn't matter. Question it. Then reactive rather than strategic decision. Don't, take decisions in a reactive manner. Resources often get poured into firefighting problems. Firefighting is always done in declining cold spots. Remember that. If you are doing a lot of firefighting, it is invariably a cold spot. It is not strengthening your company, it is weakening it. This comes out of the mindset of fix what is broken, not necessary. See, there are two aspects, two sides to this coin. One is fix what is broken. The second is scale what is growing. If you have got 100 rupees with you, where would you like to put that 100 rupees? in solving a problem which is a nuisance, or investing in an activity which will bring you more money? Tell me.
Invest.
Then why are you worried about that problem? Why are we so drawn to first fixing the problem? Let it be there now. Are you getting my point, Raju sir?
Yes.
See, human nature is if they see a problem, they want to fix it immediately. They don't realize that the amount of resource available with them is limited. And management is all about taking the right decisions. The right decision could be to allow a problem to continue while you invest on a growing sector and make more and more profit and wait for an opportune time when, without sacrificing on making profit, you can solve this problem. I know many of you might not agree with me. But my practical experience has said, don't be in too much of a hurry to solve the problem. Some problems are not worth it. Let them be there. Then customer voice is not fully heard. Whenever a customer makes a complaint, we look at him as an enemy. Remember one thing. A customer is the reason the company is existing. If you are not going to look at the customer as your friend, but as your enemy because he is complaining, then you are heading towards disaster. Listen to him and see what best you can do with what you hear. Finally, structural rigidity. What is structural rigidity? There is no budget for this. These plans are fixed and inflexible. Nothing is inflexible. Failure is not inflexible. Even the biggest companies fail. That is because they were rigid. Nokia was rigid, it collapsed. Kodak was rigid, it collapsed. If the structural rigidity had not been there, if they had not said, this is the way we always have done things, we will do like this, if they had not been like that, they would not have collapsed. Organizations that lack agility to pivot resources dynamically will collapse. Because resource allocation is business. So how do you, now you see, having understood all this, you must have understood that there's a lot of human element involved in resource allocation, lot of human element and lot of mental activity involved in it. You'll have to apply yourself fully if you have to, do resource allocation. So how do you do resource allocation? Execution of resource allocation. First thing, identify where growth profit is happening, where it is stuck. Number two, analyze how much resource is currently allocated to which area. How much is allocated to areas which are growing? How much is allocated to areas which are not growing? Now, let me ask a simple question. Can you all unmute your video? So where should you,
Sir, unmute video, unmute.
where should you, as a senior manager and entrepreneur, invest the resources?
Where we are getting maximized returns, where we are in touch with customers.
let us say you have got, say you are one of the resource. Okay. You have got 10 different activities. Let us say you are a manager and you have got 4 people working under you. There are 4 weeks at your disposal. Where should you spend your maximum time? One of them is doing 100% of his target. One of them is doing 90% of his target. One of them is doing 80% of his target. One of them is doing 70% of his target. Now, allocate your time.
70 and 80, I will allocate around about 60%. 100%, I will allocate just hardly 5 to 10%, and rest in the other thing. I will spend more time on the 70-80.
Okay. What is the logic behind it?
See, there is efforts. That's why they have achieved 70%. But the efforts, whether it is directed in the right way, whether they are able to learn and produce results, and what corrective measures I have to do is what I have to work as a senior manager, and that is how I'll be able to give the results.
Anybody else? My class has been a failure. This much I can tell you.
I think I would be allocating maximum to the 100 and then go backwards.
Absolutely. But see, what Suresh is telling is, after hearing the entire Ramayana, he has just now asked me a question: is Sita Ravana's mother? We are talking about hotspot, cold spot, investing at the highest performing area, and he is talking about giving 60% to 70 and 80. Just imagine, he will give 5% to 100. 100 collapses, the company will close. Keep your bloody 60% with the 70% guy and sit at home. Did it ever strike? Doesn't it strike a person that I have to first safeguard the company? 100% is giving by safeguarding the company. When will you send Sachin Tendulkar to bat? At 11 or 1?
1.
Why? Send him at 11. Your back, the back will be very strong. Nothing will be there at that time. You will be outside the pavilion, outside the ground, standing with the crowd, not playing the match. You should play on the front foot, play with with that aggression, putting your best foot forward. That's what is hot spot, cold spot. The whole idea of doing business is.
I got it, sir. I got it, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, Suresh. I'm not. You don't need to be sorry, Suresh. 99% company managers and entrepreneurs do this only. You opened your mouth, many don't. That's all the difference. Let's be very clear about it. Companies are struggling only because the basic tendency of human being is to attend to the problem first. I'll give you a simple example. You go to work with somebody. Let's take a very classical real life example. I'm sure you have gone and worked with a subordinate. All of you have worked with your subordinate at one stage or the other. Have you not? At the end of the day, what did you do? You are compelled to give him your feedback, right? And what are the feedback? Correction. These are the things you have to correct. How brilliant we are that we think by just working one day, we have been able to observe all the negative things about him. How difficult we feel to keep our mouth shut and not say anything and say, thank you, I had a good time working with you, and get out. Every human being has a tendency of correcting. The same tendency applies here. Because that is the reason why, cold spots grow in an organization. What did I say? Loud noises get you the resources. Silent voices lose the resources. The man who makes the most mistake is the person who will talk the loudest. He will keep trying to justify what he has done. This is human nature, human tendency. So that is the reason, we need to be very, 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 very careful in our execution. Identify where growth profit is happening. Now, I just know a few minutes back, I told, if there is a problem, don't rush to solve it. Nobody is going to give you Paramveer Chakra or Padma Vibhushan. Try to identify growth and profit happening. Analyze how much resource is currently allocated to what, how much is allocated to growth, how much is allocated in non-performing territories. Third thing is decide and move resources away from cold spot to hot spot. When you see a problem, don't rush to solve it. Remove the resource from there and put it in a performing area. That is an intelligent thing to do. Instead of trying to solve it, can any of you tell me a country which became super successful by practicing this? One country. A country practiced it.
China.
No.
Bhutan.
Who gave you the use and throw technology? Japan. Anything goes bad, throw it, buy a new one. They did not waste time, resource, energy repairing it. Do the same thing in your company. Do the same thing in your office. Devote time towards hot spots, cold spot, leave it. Remove the resources from there. Anyway, what is a cold spot? Low resource, low return. If you stop it, how are you going to lose? Please tell me. How will you lose? But if you take that resource and put it on a hot spot, what is a hot spot? Hot spot and super hot spot. Low resource, high return, high resource, high return. If you put it in that, what will happen? You will get higher returns still. Don't you think that is better? Maybe one or two people in terms of you have taken everything and put it there. Basab, lekin iska kya hoga? Don't tell him chule mein jayega. Keep quiet. It's not necessary you have to answer all questions. By virtue of being the boss, you can keep quiet also. That prerogative is also with you. Simply keep quiet, take the resources, put it in a hot spot, let the profit keep growing, let the company keep growing. At worst, what will people say? They will say, यार ये बड़ा ऑटोक्रेटिक आदमी है, हिटलर आदमी है, जहां पे जो मर्जी है वही करता है, लेकिन एक चीज तो है यार, कंपनी को फायदा होता है. That's okay. Don't you think that will be better? Decide and then execute. What is the execution? Remove from cold spot, put it in hot spot. Monitor what is happening. Come back to identify, analyze, decide, execute, monitor. Friends, hot spot, cold spot strategy has lots of human element in it. Lots of human element, because we have seen fear is one of the factors. Cognitive bias is one of the factors. Emotion is one of the factors. Political reasons is one of the factors. Trade-off between short-term and long-term is one of the factors. Decision-making in terms of using limited resources in unlimited need is one of the factors. That means what? Lots of human element is there. When there is so much of human element, execution has to be a matter of emotional intelligence, not just intellectual intelligence. That is the reason why this is very important. Execute without blame. Execute without blame. This is by far the most important thing in resource allocation. Resource allocation is not a mathematical thing. It's a matter of emotional intelligence. How do you do it? Avoid blaming past decisions. You might have identified that something is wrong. Resources are there in the wrong places. Resources are not giving you adequate result. And resources have to be moved from cold spot to hot spot. But do it without blaming past decisions. How do you do that without blaming past decision? Frame changes as evolution and not a correction. Tell that we are realigning to new data or shifting to a new potential. Execute without blaming decisions. Frame changes as evolution, not correction. Use phrases like realigning to new data or responding to a shifting potential. Now I'm going to show you at least 8 or 7 or 8 companies which have done it in a gigantically successful manner. Titan. Tanish Jewelry early days, watches losing market share to smartwatches. That was the prevalent cold spot. Then Tanish Jewelry became the hotspot. ITC, FMCG and food products from traditional cigarette reliance. Mahindra farm equipments, loss-making two-wheeler business. Hindustan Unilever, beauty and personal care premium brands, low-growth commodity soap segment. Reliance Geo Retail, Green Energy, Textile and Old Petro Retail. Wipro Cloud and Cyber Security from BPO legacy business. Marico Premium Health Products, low growth hair oils. Asian Paints Home Decor Solutions, traditional paints in declining areas. What I'm trying to tell you is all these companies transitioned, leaving their legacy positions, taking the money from that and putting it in the new area and becoming leaders. If they can do it, you can do it. All that is required is understanding of this, cold spot, hot spot strategy and having the courage to do it. Any questions?
These examples are very good, sir.
Huh?
These examples are very good.
There are real examples. When Yogeshi, even you can become an example.
Guruji, there is one question.
Yeah, please.
If you take a leaf, which I mentioned to you possibly earlier also, if you take a leaf from Kiran Mazumdar's life story, she dropped a profiting company, which was Novo Nordisk enzymes that she was doing here, Biocon, and she went into pharma. And that was a very strategically right decision. Though it was an earning company, she took a risk of going there. Another example, evolution of Apple. When it started, possibly there was no survey possible that Apple could ever survive. But Apple had that confidence and it could see the gap.
See, Apple is a classic blue ocean strategy. In a blue ocean strategy, survey does not work. Because like Ford, he said, if you ask the people at that time what they wanted, they would have told a faster horse. No one would have told a automobile.
True.
Okay. And in the case of Apple, Apple was a classic blue ocean strategy which created an ecosystem. What he did, when you buy one particular item, the very next item becomes an addendum to this item, and over a period of time, you cannot use any of those items without the other items. But regarding Kiran Majumdar Shah, I don't know because I have not studied it. So I would not venture to answer about it. All I know is Kiran Majumdar Shah, when she started Biocon, an enzyme company, a biotechnology company, it was at that time only that biotechnology was just entering into the pharma industry. She started off, if I'm not mistaken, with statins and serratiopeptidase, which was another, proteolytic enzyme. Since I am also from pharma, I know that it was a proteolytic enzyme, serratiopeptidase, which she came up with. And she came up with the statins. And then she moved into, certain anti-cancer drugs. And then slowly she migrated totally. And in the meantime, a lot of regulations came. It worked in her favor very well. And then she built a big company, and that was definitely a very good success story. There's no doubt about it. But I really do not know how the evolution took place, so I would not venture to give any comment on it. But if you want, I will look into it, and then I can give my opinion.
Whatever little bit I know was she had the brains to get the enzyme and even sell the enzyme and move to the pharma.
Yeah, she did a great job. There is no doubt about it. And you see, she could not have done it if she had not used her resources very, very effectively. Because ultimately, success is utilization of resource only. Na?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
There is
that was the
nothing else
reason
in
only I
success.
mentioned it.
Yeah. See, there is nothing else other than utilization of resources which leads to success. The problem is, you see, Indian entrepreneurs unfortunately don't look at resources as an essential element of success. That is the unfortunate part of it. You ask people, so many of us are here. How many of us really consciously allocate resources to something? Expansion. Supposing, let us say, we have a discussion on companies wants to expand. What is the first thing which comes to the mind?
Conservatism.
No, money. अरे expand करना पैसा कहाँ है? That's the first thing. Okay. ठीक है, चलो पैसा भी मिल जाएगा. So where will you use that money? Money is required for people. Money is required for machinery. Money is required to manufacture. Money is required to marketing. है कि नहीं? So very logically, money is required. Tell me one thing, when IBM collapsed in 1993 because of an $8 billion loss, what did they do? Did they go in search of money? No. They hived off their PC division, sold off this hardware business, shifted to security and software and maintenance, and became world leaders again. Did they take a single penny from the market? No. Why? Because there was this guy called Lou Gessner, who was in McKinsey, who was a master in resource allocation, reallocation. He entered, changed the whole game plan. See, ultimately, he realized, he understood that business is about resource allocation. Saras Saraswat's effectuation principle talks of building company with available resource. Michael Porter says businesses are wealth creating machines. And what has everyone turned it into? A wealth degenerating and dissipating machine. 80% of companies closed down in 10 years. What the hell happened to all the money they put in it? They not only brought their family to the street, they brought the family of another, 1 million maybe people who were employed in their companies to the street. In the name of what? Wealth creation. Does it make sense? Huh?